Well, the situation was that Kieran Kelly was a vagrant. He lived basically at Clapham Common, Kennington Park, Camberwell Green, Tooting Bec and places like that. He tended to be quite a dominant character. He bullied his fellow vagrants to do what he wanted them to do. And what happened was that 1953 he came over to London. Came over with a friend, Christy Smith, and they went down to Tooting Bec where they thought they could get cheap accommodation. They jumped into a bed and breakfast. They then got on a tube train heading back up to see the coronation. On the train, as they were getting on the train, Christy Smith said, "Hey Kelly, you're 30 now, it's about time you got married." Kelly thought that he was being outed as a homosexual. In those days, being homosexual was in fact socially and legally a different situation. Different attitudes prevailed. Kelly was petrified that he was being outed. Christy Smith knew his family, his friends, his employer, his priest, and he thought that he was doomed. He was petrified. He shook all day, he said. Couldn't control himself, couldn't think straight and all the rest of it. And then finally they got a last train back. They stopped at Stockwell, changed trains. They had 2 prostitutes with them, and as they were waiting for the train, he heard the train come in. He thought, I saw a blinding flash. It was an epiphany. I knew that what I had to do was to push my best mate under the train to silence him, and he did that. And then after that, of course, he carried on pushing people underneath tube trains. I think he had a fixation on it. He couldn't come to terms with what he'd done, and he just carried on pushing people underneath tube trains. The Home Office decided, as is their right, that they felt that public hysteria might follow, that the people would panic, that they, knowing this was happening, people wouldn't want to travel on the tube train. Might be that nobody from South West London went to work if they had to avoid the trains. Eventually, he was sentenced for 2 murders, for life imprisonment, and was sent to Wandsworth Prison and then on to Wakefield. On a simple level, it's just a simple story. I think it's an interesting story. People have enjoyed listening to it and discussing it with me. I think it also is a time that it doesn't hurt now and again to actually alert people to the fact that it is not safe to stand very close to the edge. Kelly was able to huff and puff. He's a very small, very weak man, but he managed to push some very large people under some very fast underground trains. We need to bear that in mind. It doesn't hurt now and again to alert people to the fact that they're better off with their shoulders pressed against the wall than they are hanging off the edge of the platform.